Hi there. This is Rosie Aiello, and I am with the Love is Kind Network. I am the CEO and founder of the Love is Kind Network, and I manage the Facebook group Love is Kind Women's Circle, which I invite you to join. And of course, now I am also broadcasting with the Love is Kind movement. I am on a global mission. I'm on a global mission to inspire 100 million women worldwide to free themselves from the shackles of abuse and learn to believe that they deserve to be treated with kindness. I'm on a mission to help create kinder, intimate families, kinder, intimate relationships, kinder families, kinder communities, and a kinder world. This is the win-win way of transforming yourself and the world so we all can benefit. There is no room to be demeaned, controlled, abused, put down, discriminated against. These are people who are into power and at any cost, but not in my book. And I hope not in your book either. And today's topic is an important one. I'm going to be giving you three keys to boost your self-confidence. And maybe this is a time where it feels a little bit more challenging. And if you have been in an abusive relationship like I have, I experienced one for 25 years and then continued even after I left or escaped. I engineered an international escape. That my confidence was just shot to pieces. I mean, when you have been put down and demeaned for decades and decades, you start to believe what they tell you, and you feel like you've just lost your value, your worth, who you are, that you don't feel like you're enough, and it expands to so many different parts of your whole life. And it's very destructive what happens, but it can change around. You can create the life that you deserve. And we do that one step at a time. And today's step is really learning a few keys. I have so many, but I'm just going to focus on three, and I'm going to throw in a bonus, and maybe you'll hear some other ones. But this is so important. So first of all, so if you like this, then just make some comment. What are you going to do? Because it's when you take action, not just listening. When you take action, even if the action is a little challenging, that's when you grow. That's when you change. That's when you start to become who you really want to be. So as we are going through these steps and strategies and tips to boost your self-confidence, to show up in a whole new way, I want you to focus on what is the outcome you are looking for. Where do you want to be more self-confident? Maybe you're confident in one area, but you're not in another. So I want you to focus on that. Keep that in the back of your mind or the forefront of your mind as you go through this, as you listen to it, and take notes. If you're just listening, that's okay. But then go back and see what you can apply. I'm here on a mission to help you step into that new life. And it requires you to become somebody you've never become before, to search in ways that you never searched before. And it takes action. And if you want more ideas, join the Love is Kind Women's Circle group. We're here to give you the support that you need. Your comments, your likes are always welcome. Your subscribing is welcomed so we can create this movement. I cannot do this alone. This is a worldwide movement to shift how we are treating one another, because abuse, domestic violence, discrimination, control over, demeaning, narcissism, these destroy lives unless you learn the strategies to get out of it and to move forward. So first of all, when we talk about self-confidence, I want you to really just like, oh my gosh, it's like, what are the thoughts that are coming up? I mean, think of a time, have you ever learned how to ride a bike? I remember I think I was 7-ish. I don't quite remember. And I got a bicycle for Christmas and it was turquoise. I remember it was a shiny metallic turquoise. And I was so excited. I thought, oh my gosh, I get to ride a bike. And I had been, so I could ride with my friends and we could play and go different places. And I just thought, wow, this is going to be the greatest thing. And then looking at the bike, oh, it was so pretty. Oh, it was just so pretty and shiny. And then I was like, oh, all those things, I got to get on the bike. So I thought, oh, okay, I can do this. And my father, I'm not really sure if I had training wheels, to be honest with you. I don't remember, but I think my father might have been my training wheels, but he was out there helping me. He would hold the back of the bike, the back rim. And he goes, I got you. And I'm wobbly and just like, oh, okay. And I'm learning how to pedal and then we just did it again and did it again. And sometimes I would kind of fall. I'd put my foot on the ground and then I thought, then one day, he started me off, okay. And I'm on the street in front of my house. We weren't in front of a busy road or anything like that. And, I can feel his hand on the rim and he said, you come on, you can do this. Keep pedaling, keep looking forward, keep pedaling. You can do this. And I'm just going, I'm holding on to the handles and I'm going and I'm pedaling and I'm pedaling. And then I hear him going, you can do this. And I go, oh, that voice sounds a little bit further away. It doesn't sound like he's right behind me anymore. And I did it. And it was just like, okay, I can do it. And it was such a fabulous day in my life. And that leads to the very first tip. And that is the belief that you can do it and the belief that you can figure it out. This is the more important part of that one, the belief that you can figure it out. And this is a very important and you can ask for help. You can get help, that it's not to be done alone. I didn't learn to ride a bike completely by myself. My father was there to help me. And maybe when you can think back to when you were learning to ride a bike or whatever it was, something equivalent to that, and the excitement that you had around it. You had excitement around it. You had excitement about the outcome being able to ride the bike. That's why when I first started this is asking you to, look at where, what is the outcome that you want? What is it that you want to feel really confident doing? And that's going to kind of guide you. That's going to get you excited about where you want to go. So the first one is not doing this alone. It's such a mistake to think that we have to figure things out alone. So when I say number one is the belief that you can figure it out and getting help, asking for help, getting support, figuring out who to ask. That's part of it. That's all part of that. I can figure it out. No one ever said you had to figure it out alone. This is the story you put in your mind that, oh, I have to do it all by myself. I mean, you can be like my guy. He got his bike also for Christmas one year and he hopped on it. He never knew nothing about it. And he didn't know how to use the brakes. He didn't know anything. And he's just pedaling and it's going downhill. And it's like, oh, this is fun until, he crashed. And that's okay too. because he learned. He learned, oh, that's how you do it. He probably got a few tips from his father and maybe his mother too about, okay, now this is how we do it. And so now getting to number two, because this leads to number two. Number two tip is, what are your thoughts that you're having regarding the outcome that you're desiring? What are your thoughts and beliefs? Because it's those thoughts and beliefs that are going to generate some feelings. So, for example, when I was learning to ride the bike, my thought was, I don't want to fall, or really, I'm going to fall, and then I'm going to get hurt. I don't know. Now, if those thoughts were so big, if I had a thought, well, I don't want to learn how to ride a bike, I'm going to fall and I'm going to get hurt. And if I keep repeating those and become a belief, then it's like, how do I feel? It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to try it. And you get smaller, right? You just get smaller. It's like, oh, I'm not going to try that. That's just too hard. And I don't want to get hurt. But what if you said instead, oh, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep practicing, right? Because part of figuring out is you have to practice whatever it is. And maybe I might fall, but that's okay. I might fall, and that might be just okay. That's part of the process. So if we accept that part of the process is making mistakes while you're figuring it out, if you already knew how to do it, you wouldn't have the figuring out part to do, right? Because you already know how to do it. We're in the beginning stages. And even when you're having somebody guide you, you still have to do it. You have to take that leap. You have to take those actions. And what you think is going to help you or hurt you. So if you're thinking, for example, look, I was telling you earlier, my confidence was so shot from being in such a highly abusive relationship. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid to drive. I was afraid to walk out the door. I was afraid to talk to people. I was afraid to date. Oh my gosh. I mean, I was terrified of that. And so what happened? I didn't drive very much. I didn't talk to very many people, and I didn't date. So do you see what happens when you choose thoughts that stop you from creating the life that you want? When you have these negative or unuseful thoughts or toxic thoughts or thoughts that are not going to generate things good for you, you make your world smaller. You think you are being safe by doing that because you've been hurt so badly. Because it's like, oh, it's not worth the effort. You're telling yourself these stories, but who gets hurt in the long run? Your world becomes smaller. Your world becomes less exciting. Your world is created out of fear instead of fun and joy. So as you take these steps, as you say, okay, Rosie, I'm going to figure this out. If you're just starting to date and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do these dating sites. Oh man, they're so confusing. I don't want to get on that. Or you might think, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not slender enough. I'm just not enough. And if you go in with that kind of an attitude, that kind of an energy, what do you think you're going to attract? Or who do you think you're going to attract? Who wants somebody? Do you want to be with yourself? Do you want to be with somebody who's like that? Who's like, oh, I'm just, I know I'm just not enough. Because you feel that, right? I'm not, oh, that's, thank you for, I'm just not pretty enough. So you're going to keep attracting what you don't want instead of what you want. You're going to make your life smaller instead of more expansive. You have one precious life to live. One precious life to live. And yes, you've had challenges, and yes, it's been difficult, but you don't need to stay that way. These are your choices, and there are strategies, and I'm just teaching you a tiny, tiny bit. And if you want to learn more, go to www.freedomfulfillmentquiz.com. That's freedomfulfillmentquiz.com. And you're in 4 minutes, you will learn different strategies. You'll learn where you are and where you need to go. It's 4 minutes. It's so quick and easy. So let me get back to why we want to build this skill. And these skills, this is another thing, is that you will learn something like the bike, right? I learned how to ride my bike. I'm telling you, I learned how to ride my bike when I was really young. Now, I am now riding my bike as an adult, and it's actually been quite a long time since I'm riding the bike. And now I'm riding it on the street where there are cars. And I would not be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I have some fear. I have some fear about the cars, and I'm trying to stay off the side. But the more that I am practicing now as an adult, riding in a new environment that I've never been in before, riding alongside cars that I've never done before, all of these things, they're new to me. But as I do them, I keep telling myself, okay, I can do that. As I get encouragement from my guy that, yeah, you're doing great, I build my self-confidence. So you're generating your self-confidence. You're not knowing ahead of time and then you have confidence. The confidence comes from before. The confidence comes from, one, again, knowing that you can figure it out and get support. Two is practicing your thoughts. So if you have these negative, not useful thoughts like I'm not enough or I can't do it, listen to yourself. Start listening to what you're telling yourself. So if you say I can't do it, then that's what's going to happen because you're going to sabotage yourself each and every time. And when you sabotage that one thing, you're sabotaging your life. And if you say, well, Rosie, look, I've had, I've been put down. I've had this horrible relationship. I am not worth anything. Remember, those were somebody else's thoughts going into you. They are not true. It's your job now to look forward. That's what I like about the metaphor of the bicycle. It's about, we don't ride a bicycle going backwards. We ride a bicycle going forwards. This is about moving your life forward. And yes, it takes effort. Yes, it takes practicing your thoughts and creating new beliefs because you are worth it. Your life matters. So number three that I want you to go into is, I'm just checking some of my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. So the number three is find a time in your life. I know there was a time somewhere. Maybe it was a bicycle. Maybe it was another time. Maybe you have multiple times when you felt self-confident. You felt good. And remember the feeling like when you rode that bike or another time when you felt good, when you were, maybe you did something at work or something with your child, something that you feel the feeling inside. You know the feeling, to tap into the feeling. I didn't mention this, but when you have those negative thoughts and beliefs, you're going to have a feeling. And it's going to kind of be a shrinking, a tightening, a pain feeling. But when you feel good, when you feel confident, you're going to feel that great feeling. And I want you to tap into that. Tap into what it feels like in that. And you want to kind of nurture that feeling. It's like, oh yeah, when I have building these skills of being self-confident, when I can speak to somebody that I didn't think I could speak to, when I can get on that dating site that I never thought I could, when I can get on stage and talk to people, I feel so good. Tap into that and remember that. Keep focusing on those good feelings to remind yourself that when you're confident, that when you practice, that when you get support, that when you learn how to do it by practicing, when you practice your thoughts, when you reframe your thoughts from I can't to I'm learning how to do it. When I'm not good enough to I'm in the process of learning to appreciate and value myself. When I say I'm not pretty enough, to reframe that thought and say, well, my friends think I'm pretty. I probably can start learning to believe that I'm pretty too. I mean, there are so many different kinds of beauty. Why are you defining one type of beauty? There are many, 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 many millions of different kinds of beauty. Billions of different kinds of beauty. Because each person has their own beauty. And that beauty comes from within, not just from without. It comes from within. And when you are self-confident, that is attractive. Because you show up in a whole different way. Somebody's going to be attracted to you because of your confidence, because of your self-confidence. So isn't that something worth working on, worth practicing? And while you go through all of this, what I want to share with you, and this is a bonus, because this is sort of the premise and the foundation of everything that I do and everything that I teach. And that is when you fall off that bike, when you get hurt, when you say maybe you fail, this is the time to be a little self-compassionate with yourself. Show yourself some self-kindness and say, I'm figuring it out. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm in the process of figuring it out. And yeah, there are going to be some bumps in the road. If life was that easy, if there were no bumps in the road, and if there was no struggle, how would you appreciate when you got there, when you was able to ride that bike? If it was easy, there wouldn't be as much joy. But when you have to kind of work at it, it's like, oh, this feels good. When you get on that dating site, for example, it's like, I did that. I got my picture up and I think I look quite lovely. And I wrote my profile and I showed my true heart. And when I got on stage, yeah, I might have been scared and nervous, but that didn't mean I didn't figure it out how to get up on that stage, because I'm doing it. And that's why I want to encourage you. You're doing it. And if something doesn't go right, maybe you forgot the lines to your speech, but let me tell you, I've done a lot of speaking. The audience is not going to know, but you know. And so you're going to probably talk not very nicely to yourself for a while and say, oh, you messed up. Just give yourself a little compassion. Give yourself some self-kindness, some kindness to yourself to buoy you up that you're human and that this is part of the human experience. So what did we go over? 3 keys to boost your self-kindness, to boost your self-confidence. They're all for self-kindness. So 3 of them, I'm going to go over them again. So number 1 is the most important one, and yet it is the easiest. It's just the simplest thing. It's just telling yourself, I can figure it out. I can just start believing that I can figure it out. And what's the second part of that one? The second part is I can figure it out and I don't have to figure it out all by myself. Forget the notion that you have to figure things out all by yourself. That's why we have teachers and coaches and mentors to help each other. Why do you need to start from like reinvent the wheel? That's not very figure out, not very practical. So just know that whatever you're going through, whatever it is, it's figure outable. And you're in the process of it. And so if you fall down, and so if you get hurt, so what? That's part of the process. Okay, so that goes to number 2. Number 2 is watch your thoughts and beliefs. Okay? Are your thoughts negative? Are they not useful? Are you putting yourself down? Are you scaring yourself? Are you creating fear? Oh, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fail. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. Watch those thoughts and reframe them to something. Doesn't necessarily have to be super positive, but just make it at least useful. So if it's, I can't do it, just say, I'm figuring it out. And the other day, for example, I was working on something and I worked on it for days. I go, I'm figuring this out. And it's like, what's going on? I'm figuring it out. And finally I said, you know what? I can't figure it out by myself. So I called my coach and go, help me with this. And it was just, as it turns out, part of the thing I was working on a form on my website, and the form was broken, but I didn't know that. And I didn't even think. But, having somebody from the outside see from a different perspective can help you. That's why it's such a mistake to think we have to do it by ourselves. So again, I'm going to repeat. First one, the belief, just take on this thought. I can figure it out and get help. And 2, reframe my negative thoughts. Because when you do, it's going to change your feelings. When you have a negative thought, it makes you feel bad and you don't want to do it, right? You know that feeling. You know where it is. Maybe it's in your chest. Maybe it's in your stomach. Maybe it's in your throat or your back. You get these aches and pains and these feelings that don't feel good. But then when you think about, oh, I can do this. And okay, so what if it doesn't work out the first time? That's just part of the process. And accept that's part of the process rather than, oh, that's it. I can never do it again. I can't figure it out. I've dated one guy after the other and they're all frogs. Well, you know what? Yeah, there are a lot of frogs. We need frogs in the ponds, but there are also a lot of great guys. We'll just keep working on that. And of course, I have a whole program on teaching that. And then number 3. What's number 3? Is what you want to do is tap in to when you had some self-confidence in another area, right? You know the outcome, right? Remember the outcome. The outcome for me was learning how to ride a bike. So what's your outcome? This is part of the process. And then remember a time, looking back at your past. Sometimes it's not useful to do that. But in this case, look at your past when you did feel self-confident. What was it? And then feel that feeling. It's a good feeling. And remember, that's what happens when you gain that self-confidence in whatever area it is. You gain that confidence. And then when you have confidence in one area, it breeds confidence in another area. And it breeds confidence. And so then you start showing up completely differently. You become somebody you never were before. And before your eyes, you've just been a layer of transformation. And wasn't that cool? That's fantastic. And when things get you kind of down and maybe it's not working out, that's when you go to the bonus that I was sharing with you. And that's to give yourself a little self-compassion, some self-kindness. Just, congratulate yourself for trying and just say, okay, it didn't work out this time. Just like when I was working on that page. I mean, I did like for 4 days and hours and hours. It's like, I don't know. And then I would just stop and try until I finally got some help. And, it's like, I kept going after it. And that's the key. So you can do this. Your life matters. This is Rosie Ayala with the Love is Kind Network, sharing with you that you deserve to be treated with kindness, and it starts by being kind to yourself. And if this has been helpful, share your tips, share what you're going to apply, because nothing in this world changes. You won't change, you won't become somebody bigger and better and more confident if you don't apply it. So that's my challenge to you, is to apply this and to keep sharing. The more you share this, you'll help somebody else. Maybe you didn't need this, but maybe somebody else will need. So that's what I know for sure. There's always somebody in your circle who can use the help, who can hear maybe just one of the words I'm sharing, and it will change their life. So be that carrier, be that leader, if not for yourself, for somebody else. Have a fabulous day. This is Rosie Aiello. Love is kind. And I'm going to sign off here. Okay, great.